for that. But live on the phone, I've got the Cornish legendary comedian Jethro. Hello.
Lewis, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Good, yeah, very good.
Jethro, you made your television debut on the programme Treasure Hunt.
Oh, yeah, that nearly finished me, Lewis. I started working in the pubs and I was gone into comedy by accident because I ran out of PA and the singing voice had gone and that wasn't good anyway. So I just told a few jokes and everybody knows a few and that's where that started. But then they catapulted me into that television show and it was the wrong vehicle for me, it really was. And then people said they wouldn't come to see me. We had seen that fellow on Treasure Hunt. We weren't impressed with him. So it took me 5 years to get that stigma gone.
But how did you find the whole experience, kind of getting chucked into TV? Because it must have been such a big difference, being on TV.
Yeah, it's a very frightening thing. When I went to the network television, when I got up there and people milling around with earphones and producers talking from upstairs and it's really foreign to a boy from Sunbury. It really was. And I remember the first day as OConnor, and I was frightened out of my life. You would be. I mean, you're going live on national television, and how am I going to remember what I'm going to tell him? And I was sitting up in the where the audience sit, and it was all going on. I think Diana Ross was on. And oh my God! I thought, what am I doing here? And Jim Davidson came in. He said, "Always remember this, Jethro." He said, "You're frightened." I said, "Out of my life." He said, "There's only one man here that can do your job, and without you doing your job, all these people be out of work." That was good advice, wasn't it?
But was being a TV personality something that you always wanted?
Not really. I never was a TV man. I'm a live audience man, really, and television's now, I haven't been on television for a long time, and that's by my own choice. I can sort of now, because I haven't been on television for a long time, I can sort of walk in the streets and don't get recognised. And if I do get recognised, I get embarrassed about it, totally embarrassed. Because you're very much two people. When you're on stage, you're the entertainer, but I'm a private man, really, away from that sort of media thing, So I try to keep some sort of life with it all.
So you don't care about people recognising you in the street. You're quite a private man.
I don't go in the streets anymore. I'm nearly a recluse. I wouldn't have been in a restaurant for 10 years. I wouldn't walk the streets. I mean, it's ridiculous. And people tell these stories. And when I went to school with you, and you remember we used to go down to Falmouth, and we get there drunk, we stay there till Tuesday. It's rubbish, absolute rubbish. But they've told these stories that often, they believe them now, and they don't know where the truth started.
But when did you decide that working in comedy was going to be your job? Well,
it was by accident. It was in the pub. I used to sing a few folk songs badly and play the guitar even worse. And like I said, I ran out of read the PA. I had a cheap PA. It was a lash-up, really. And I just told a few stories that everybody knows a few. You know a few. Everybody knows a few. And the landlord said, if you're going to tell stories like you're telling, he said, I don't want you working here. I said, well, that's all right. But next week, my voice will be back. I was only doing one a week. And I got there the next week, and there was a good little crowd. So anyway, I started to sing a few old folk songs like I used to. And then someone said, let's have some jokes, mate. And I thought, surely they're not here to hear the jokes. And I told them everything I could think of, even stuff that I told when I went to school. And I had a good night. And the following week, I got there at 7:30 and couldn't park the car. But by that time, I'd rung everybody. I said, do you know any jokes? And I had, on the top of the car, the swerve on the top of a guitar. I had all the jokes written down on a piece of paper. So I had hundreds for the next week. And that's how it started.
So, how did you find working on a Des O'Connor show? Because that's another show that you worked on. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I did 2011, I think, Des O'Connor's. Des O'Connor was absolutely brilliant. And when you look at Des when he was live, they said, well, it's all been rehearsed. That is so wrong. I say to Des, I give him a list of questions. I said, right, this is your questions I want you to ask me. And that's all he had. What I was going to say, when we went live, Des did not have a clue. And when he was laughing, Des had heard that for the first time. So it wasn't contrived at all, that show. I think a lot of it is now. But that show certainly wasn't contrived. And Des was very, very good, because if you had a gag with a double tab on the end, Des would instinctively know there was more to come, and it was just natural. Judy Spires is the same. Judy got that natural comedy with her. So that did me a lot of good. That was in the early 90s.
Jethro, there's one question I want to ask you, because you've maintained such a great career in comedy. What would you say that, the tip is to maintain that? Because some comedians may be known for, for telling too many rude jokes, but you've maintained such a great career. How would you say you've done that?
I think that a lot of the comics now, they spend their lifetime trying to impress somebody else. They work hard, very hard, at meeting the right people and being in the right place and all the time and keeping up an image. But if they worked as hard on their act as what they do trying to promote themselves, the promoters would eventually find them. They do the same act for years. They don't change it. They're not progressive with what they do. They're afraid to push the boundaries out. I mean, we try to be. You can't change. I do an hour and a half or 2 hours of a night. You can't change 2 hours. But I would change more than a good sprinkling every night of my life. I mean, today, I've just been in the office now and told the secretary, I said that England has beaten Pakistan by 4 wickets next Friday week. It's all, and you can only use that for about a week, and then that'll be gone on. Someone else will come up then. But I was probably the bluest thing in England back when I started. And then everybody got worse and worse and worse, and I never went with them. I never ever got into the F's and C's, never ever. I'm a bit too blue even now for 10%. I'm not blue enough for another 10%. That'll leave 80% of the public will come and see me. And a lot of old ladies come to see me. I suppose they sit in these theatres in the dark and keep their head down, and they're gorgeous there.
So you have a big following from different ages, because I'm a fan of yours, and my nan's a fan, and my dad's a fan, so... there's so many ages that are a fan of your work, so you do get people involved, which is great to watch on your DVDs as well.
I think, going back to what you said about the comedy now, they change their act to suit wherever they are. And if you keep changing your style, you'll become just a nothing act. If that's your style, you've got to stick to your style, and you've got to let the people, if they like your style, they'll come and see you. If they don't, they won't, and that's fair enough. I think a lady said to me in the club, "I don't find you funny at all." I said, I'm not offended by that at all, because some of the great comics over the years that people loved and adored, I just don't find funny, and that's fair enough. Comedy is a very individual thing, and I got no more right to tell you what's funny than anybody else. Nobody, because if you find it funny, there's comedy. So, they must establish what they're going to be and stick to it.
So, Jeff, out of all the projects you've worked on, because you've worked on so many and released so many videos and DVDs, what would you say the best one is for you, the one you enjoyed the most? I
think when we years ago, when we went to put an open scanner into Bristol, and we had to raise £1 million. In fact, we raised £1.5 million in the end, to lead the room out, and I walked from Land's End to my place to launch it, and the satisfaction of I know a tremendous help from people all over the southwest, but to put the scanner in and see a boy 10-year-old go in and open it and be diagnosed and cured, that which is a bit special.
Because I was reading about that project yesterday, and was it 100 miles you walked?
About 100, yeah. We did a show every night. I think we did one in Penzance in the Mead House, and then we did one. Where did we go? I don't know. We went to St Austell, I don't know. Then we went to Camborne, I think. Then to Royal Cornwall. And one night my feet was that sore I had to work my stocking feet.
Who would you say inspired you? Was there a comedian that you looked up to?
Oh yeah, I'm not an individual. I'm a rip-off. I'm just a rip-off of the people that I admired. There's a lot of John. You remember John the Measurer that was the sergeant in Dad's army? He threw lines away. He had funny lines through it, and there's a lot of John LeMay. I loved him, and Captain Mad. There's a bit of Captain Mannering in me.
Yeah, I know
there's
that.
There's a bit of Frank Carson in me. There's a bit of Les Dawson in me. There's a bit of Tommy Cooper in me. A bit of Billy Connolly. I'm just a thief the people that I admired. A bit of Mick Miller in me. I just listened, and they made me laugh. And there's a little bit of them all in me. So I took what I liked of them all and put it in one person, really.
And you were also back at the Hall for Cornwall in soon, and tickets are still available to get that, and it's on the Monday the 4th of October at 7:30, and again on Tuesday the 5th.
I wouldn't go and see that rubbish if I was you. I wouldn't go and see that. One woman come to see me twice, well, there's no excuse for that, is it?
You know, it's such a great show, and obviously because I'm under 18, I'm not able to go and see it yet, but I can't wait till I'm able to buy tickets and come and watch one of your shows.
But you said that your area, Penzance, you are, Lewis, aren't you?
Yeah, Penzance.
That's home to me, the West Penwith. And I work away a lot, but I get a yearning to get back to West Penwith. And it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and then one day I jump in the car and I go down, and I spend all day in West Penwith on my own. Just drive around West Penwith, and then I've had my fix. Then I come back home again then, and that'll get stronger and stronger and stronger again, and then one day I do it again. But West to me, Cornwall don't start till you get to Camborne.
All right, so I never actually know that you were a big fan of the West.
Oh, well, I was brought up there. I was born in St. Buryan, went to live in Sancreed when I was 7, went to St. Just School, worked as a carpenter in St. Just, then I went down Levant Mine, worked down the mine for 12 months, then I worked in Penlee Quarry. Yeah, I'm a proper Penwith boy, me.
Jethro, it's been fantastic speaking to you today. Thank you very much.
Lewis, nice to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Bye.
Bye.